Get myself situated.
Good evening. This is the meeting of the Lacey Historical Commission. What we're going to do first is do a roll call, make sure that we have quorum, which I believe we do. Kimberly, you're there, right?
Indeed.
July,
I'm here.
Alan,
Here.
He said he's here.
he's there.
It's just very faint.
It's very faint. Okay, we'll go around the table.
Ed Home.
Kevin Wyckoff.
John Halverson.
Jim Keough. So I'd like to next ask John to go ahead and read the land acknowledgement.
The Lacey Historical Commission meets on the ancestral land of the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek, including the Nisqually Indian tribe, the Squaxin Island tribe. We acknowledge and remember those tribal people not recognized today who were absorbed or relocated into other tribes for survival. We recognize the ancestors and their descendants who are still here. We recognize and respect the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek as the traditional stewards of this land since time immemorial, and their role today in taking care of these lands in perpetuity. We recognize and have the responsibility to call attention to the histories of dispossession, forced removal, and abridged treaty rights that allowed our nation, state, and city to develop as they have today. We recommend that community members read the Medicine Creek Treaty of 1854.
Thank you, John. So next up on the agenda is to approve the amended agenda, and Aaron, can you tell us what things changed between the time we got the first agenda and where we are now?
It's not amended.
It's not amended. Okay, so we'll just strike the word amended. So does anybody have any comments or changes that they want to make to the agenda that we have in front of us?
I'll move agenda as distributed.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
A couple of seconds. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, we've approved the agenda. I'd like to ask you next to review the September 18th meeting minutes and make sure that those meet your approval. And we'll then entertain a motion to approve them.
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, Kevin. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Both Ed and Kimberly have seconded that. Is there any discussion?
Find it.
Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 But I did.
Okay, everybody has said aye, and I think we're good to go forward on that. So next, we're open to public comment. We don't have anybody online.
We had no registrations
No
and no written public comment.
Okay. So I think we next go to presiding officer nominations.
Yeah, so this is the time of year that we do nominations and then we can do the election next month. Although everyone's here, I mean, you can do the elections whenever you like. But it will start in January.
Okay. John?
I nominate Jim Keough as chair of the Historic Commission.
I second that.
Alan seconded.
Oh, I heard that. Any other nominations for that position? Here any? I'm assuming we're also nominating vice chair?
Yeah.
At this point? Okay.
I move that nominations be closed and we cast a unanimous ballot for Jim Keough for chair.
Pardon me?
You can do that.
Yes.
You know, like,
Okay.
you need my
In a
confirmation.
second, call for the vote. I'll second.
Okay, I'll call for the vote on that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
You're
We'll
rotating
turn
it.
in January. Vice Chair, I think, is also open. John,
I move to nominate Kevin Wyckoff as vice chair of the historical committee.
At least you're consistent.
Yeah.
any other nominations?
3 times.
John,
You gotta do it 3 times.
I gotta do it 3 times, okay. Are there any other nominations? Last but not least, do we hear any other nominations? Hearing none, I will open it to John.
I move that we close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for Kevin Wyckoff for vice chair of the historical commission.
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Kevin, sounds like you're on for that. And then I think we move on, then there's no other officers that I remember now.
Nope.
So then we move on to new acquisitions, Aaron.
I have a new volunteer helping me with collections. That's why you're having them every month, because I have someone helping me do them.
Nice.
Sarah, she's great. I really, really appreciate her help. So I want to give her a shout out. Okay, so we've got a couple of things here. So the first one is a very brand newly written book about the history of the wildlife refuge. And one of our photos is in the book. So it looks really interesting. I haven't finished it yet, but I've started it. So I would like to accept that into our local history book collection. And then the second item is we got a donation last year from Kagi Jackson. I never know if I'm saying that right. Is it Kagi or KG? Does anybody know? Kagi?
KG.
KG, okay. She wrote a story about her family history, which was published in About Town. Town is one of her family surnames, but they're related to people in Lacey. And so that'll go into our genealogical collections. And then we have some booklets from the historical booklets from the Tumwater Historical Association about local history and some about the local tribes. And so I want to add those to our collection. I think that's it. Yep, that's it.
I'll entertain a motion to accept those acquisitions.
Also move.
Second.
Okay, Kevin beat you to it. Do you want to be the second? Good, okay. Any discussion of that? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
I have a
Yes.
question.
Those are approved.
Oh, Alan has a question.
Alan,
My question is for Aaron. Aaron, do we take and offer the books that we receive to be cataloged with the public library?
Do we do what with them?
Offer them to the public library so they can be cataloged in their system.
No, they're in our collection. They have their own collection, so we're separate from them. So I'm pretty sure that, I mean, a lot of the books that we get in our collection, they get in theirs as well. They have a local history section there. But people can come and read them in our collection as well if they want to. They just can't check them out.
Could we get a list of them?
I don't know if I have a list of everything. I will soon.
That the books would be very handy to have.
Yeah. I probably can't do that right now, but we're gonna be moving, so I will have a list soon.
Good, thank you very much. That'd be very helpful.
Aaron, I think I'm not sure about Bob KG. Had a print shop that I used to go to all the
Yep.
time on Martin Way. So
Yep.
that's how he pronounced it. So.
Oh, okay, cool, thank you. I mean, I know, I've met him and I know I've heard it, I just, in my mind, I get it all mixed up.
Yes.
So I think we're next moving to the museum storage update.
Yeah, so good news, we have just signed the lease for our new space on Sixth Avenue. It's in the Bell Center, which is across from the Office Depot, right in the building next door to Sephora's. Anyone goes there, yum yum. I'm gonna be going there probably more than is good for me. Our suite number is 103 and it's about 1,100 square feet plus a storage area. And as you know, and as we mentioned last time, a huge challenge for us at the Lacey Museum is space. For exhibits, collections, programs, events, storage, and all of those things. You know, all the reasons that we need the new museum, Lacey Museum and Cultural Center.
Yeah.
So in the process of figuring out where everything would go in this new space, we sort of did a flip. We decided that the best option would be to have the exhibits move there. That will allow for a larger exhibit space, more room for programs, and we can actually host field trips, maybe do evening events.
Yes.
The Russell House would then host, which is the current museum, would host all the collections and a research center.
Yes.
And we expect, Kim, do you want to mute?
Sorry.
That's okay, thank you. And then we'll have a research center there. So all the collections will be in one place. You know, and people, you know, like you talked about the books, all the books will be there and people will be able to go to the stacks and look at the books. And there will be some stuff that is accessible to people to handle on their own, like research files and stuff like that. But there will also be, you know, assisted research with me. And I just found out today that we're gonna be able to also have a public computer for people to access our collection and do research. Wow, I know.
So when does this all happen?
So really soon. So, I mean, as you can imagine, this is a huge undertaking, but we're really excited to get the more exposure, build champions for the museum. And I'm really excited to have a place for people to do research and to be able to really help people. And giving them the opportunity to do some of this work for themselves because they're the ones who know what they're looking for, right? So the timeline is that assuming they are making some changes at the building, the construction has started, they need to build a wall and some stuff like that. Assuming that's done in time, our lease will start on November 1st. That doesn't mean we'll be open or ready or anything like that. We'll just have our keys. If the work's not done, we'll just have it as soon as the work is done. Our plan is to close. The last day that will be open at the current museum location is November 8th. And we'll probably be closed through the rest of the year because we have a lot of work to do. We need to revamp although some of our exhibits are moving, we're not gonna just like pick them up and move them, most of them. We're going to do some revamping. The resort room had already been in plans for renovation. So a lot of that work will be used to redo the resort exhibit in the new building. And there will also be a space for the Lacey School exhibit. We recognize how important that is to our community. And so we definitely want to keep some of the Lacey School room in there, but just know that it's not going to be the same. It's going to be different. And we're still really excited and even more so to do our early aviation exhibit that has been in the works for a year. Because we're gonna have the ability to do some really cool stuff in this space that we wouldn't have been able to do in the museum, the current building. So we are very excited. We have a lot of work to do. But we're just really thrilled to be able to have the ability to be in a more publicly accessible place. And speaking of accessibility, it will actually be accessible to people with disabilities, which is something we've never been able to do. So that's cool too. That is my update on that.
That's great news.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think if I had any other questions. That's right now.
All right.
So I think what that brings us to next is the beginning look at the 2025 work plan. And my understanding is that we won't be approving that this evening.
Correct.
We're just taking the first look at it. Okay.
So last time we had talked a little bit about the 2025 work plan as we were talking about the 2024 work plan. And one of the things that came up was the item we had about tribal relations. And so I discussed the role of the historical commission in tribal relations with Jen. And so she confirmed that it is city council's role to meet with the Nisqually Tribal Council, elected officials to elected officials. City staff is more than happy to report back regarding status and happenings that might be relevant to the historical commission. City staff can also continue to pursue ways to partner and collaborate with the tribes, like we have done with the RAC kiosk exhibits, with the new museum project, with our history talks, all those kinds of things. And we already have a great relationship with the staff liaisons at the tribes, and I'm not sure what I wrote here. Anyway, we can always invite their staff to attend our meetings if we want to share information with them, or you know, anything like that. And in addition, the joint work session each January is an opportunity for the historical commission to check in with city council members and ask them questions about anything, including this. And that reminds me, our joint session with council, has that been fully decided yet? Huh? I'm not aware. Can you look it up while we're checking? I believe that they've either set a date or a tentative date, so I'll let you know if we find that out. So with that, so for example, the Quaimuth Village, I think that's what it's called, which is being developed where by Cabela's, from there to like the roundabout at Marvin and Willamette. City staff we have been putting together our input on that project, including historical resources, their plan for historical resources. There aren't any historic sites that we know of in there, but their plan for inadvertent discovery is really good, which is really no surprise because, you know, it's the TIPO for their historic preservation officer who was doing it, who we would consult with on our own. So I'm not really surprised at that. So we do that.
What's it called again?
I think it's Quaimuth Village.
It's like QUIEMUI.
They're gambling the whole package there, aren't they?
Huh?
It's my understanding doing gambling in the whole package.
Yes.
Like-
There's two alternate plans.
Just like, Nevada.
But yes, a casino is in both plans. I mean, there's some exciting stuff in there that they have planned, like entertainment and sports, indoor sports, mini golf. I think apartments, a hotel, casino, yeah, stuff like that. Okay, that having been said, I drafted a draft of the 2025 work plan, but I show that.
You want to share your screen?
Oh, hello, thank you.
Thank you.
This,
Most of the things
No.
on here are crossouts.
oh, that was
Nope.
bad.
Game ends when you stop being nice.
All right. So starting in the top section, I didn't propose any changes in that area except to change the strategic plan. I delayed that since we've got a lot going on. But other than that, that's the same. Same thing with the second section. Anybody has any comments?
You're talking about just the first section, Lacey Museum project, or you working right in, or people?
You
want
can
to
comment on anything.
Okay,
I was just trying to prime the pump and it wasn't working.
sure.
Where's the strategic plan? I don't see that.
It's right at the top, the very first item.
New Lacey Museum project is my first
Yes.
entry. Where's the word
It's number
strategic
one.
plan?
Right under that, it's
Right,
number
and it
one.
says review and revise strategic plan.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Maybe we need to give these their
So
individual.
we're gonna do that in March or by March.
Hopefully.
Guess I need to blow this up, make it bigger print.
Can you see it on there?
I can barely read it on here. I barely read it on there. Sorry, it's just my
Here.
bottom, my problem. I mean, I can read it well enough to see everything, except the word strategic. I can't see that word.
It's lowercase.
Aaron, I wanted to suggest just, I know this would be helpful to me and maybe.
Do you want this, John?
No, I can
Sure.
read this.
Okay.
Close enough, yeah.
More thinking about this just as a background for the commission. We talk under historic properties by identifying at least 2 properties from the historic property inventory that could be added to the Lacey Historic Register. I thought it might be interesting to know which properties we currently have on the register, just to review those with the
Oh.
commission and to then go what's on the potential inventory. It
Okay.
might be helpful just to provide context in that conversation.
Actually,
And maybe do that at one of the meetings would be, that way we could present a map and that kind of thing and give people a general idea of what's
Yeah, I
there.
like that.
actually, kind of think of it, just kind of tying in with the acquisitions. I think big picture wise, it might be nice to know, properties, but kind of overall big picture of just like what, is in the collection. I mean, we've been to a handful of these meetings and accept new stuff into the collection, but what is in the collection, what properties are on that, kind of more of that big picture, I think it'd be helpful.
Yeah, I can see that too.
What would you guys think about after we move and get everything set up at the research center that we do a tour and you guys can see?
Yeah.
Sure,
Definitely.
sure, I think that'd be great.
Okay.
Have they been working with the actual people that run Lacey? I mean, all the way through on this, or because they've had the property for years,
What are you talking about?
this whole
Drive?
building out there.
Drive?
Yeah,
They're a separate nation. They don't need to follow our rules.
I didn't say they didn't have to. I just asked if they did.
I think our team offers to give them advice and they say, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's what because it was interesting when they were first starting on it. First, talked about it. I wonder what they do when they were.
I read an article that most of the land was, well, there is a lot of land that's in the county.
Yep.
And the Board of County Commissioners transferred authority over all permitting and everything to the tribe. That was a formal vote last year.
I didn't know about that. That's a good idea, I think. Yeah.
I was also thinking that it might make sense, because I know this is gonna come around at some point, probably not until certainly after the first. Just to, at some point, there's gonna be an unveiling of the kiosk and probably inviting the
Oh,
board members to
Oh, yeah,
that would
that's a
be
good idea.
a good thing to have in here too.
I'll wordsmith it, but later.
Yeah, it's just looking at the timetable, I think we're really looking at that occurring after the first of the year, so.
I think it would be good if it was in spring when the weather was better.
Well, I would think so too.
We always plan these things for the fall and then they always end up getting canceled and moved to the spring.
Yeah,
Have it before last week.
I know, right? Yes.
John?
I just have a quick question. You triggered it for me. How many buildings do we actually have on that we own or whatever?
On,
Like Jacob Smith and
that we own, that our department or the city?
the city?
Let's see.
I mean, historic.
Off the top, that's historic.
ones. Yeah, historical.
Oh, Jacob Smith House.
Yes,
The museum building
yes.
and McKinney House. That's
And the
it.
McKinney House. Okay, that's what I thought. It was only about 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So there isn't any other, I don't know, Halverson House somewhere that we,
Was that swimming area out here? That was right out by across the street that they were talking about. That when we drove by there, we talked about, they were gonna remodel that old swimming area. It's a motel, it's an old motel, I think, that had that would swim in the backyard back there. I mean, they own that too, I'm sure.
Lake Lois, are you talking
Lake
about?
Lois?
What?
Lake Lois?
Yeah, probably, I think
Okay.
that.
We have some
there's a-
buildings
but there's a
there.
building there,
There are
that's what
some
I'm
buildings.
saying, and then, so I didn't hear you say that with the list, so that made me think there might be another one somewhere.
There's a lake. There were buildings when we acquired Lake Lois.
Yeah.
It was donated to us, but
Oh,
I
was
don't,
it?
I don't know if we tore them down because they were.
McKinney building is part of that.
What?
The McKinney building is part of that.
Oh, is it?
Right.
Mhm.
Is
I
that the
don't
one
think-
they're gonna, is
I
that
don't
the one
mean-
they're gonna remodel?
I don't know that,
I don't mean Lake Lois. I mean Watchers Park. That's what I mean. There used to be some buildings there.
yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know
Well,
what it is now.
I was told that the mayor really wanted to have that.
Oh,
fixed.
that's
Oh,
McKinney.
that's still true.
It's
That's the McKinney.
That's the McKinney House.
That's what I didn't know. I didn't realize that was the McKinney house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the
It's Lois
McKinney
McKinney.
House, we're currently doing a couple of studies and research projects with consultants to gather information to be able to know what's possible because
Yeah.
it's in a wetland.
Yeah, it's,
The McKinney House is right across from the community center.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's boarded up and painted. Gets painted every time it gets graffiti on it. It's got more paint on it than any house I know.
I'll have to keep
That may be
keep
what's
water
holding
on
it together.
It is.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
It was a cafe.
So are there other suggestions of things that we might want to put on the strategic plan? And again, we're not approving it tonight. Right now, we're sort of getting suggestions and ideas.
I have an idea about like, we talk about the kind of tribal relations things, maybe we just put something in there that we will interface with city staff on relevant things and have that just kind of a more broad that when stuff comes up that might have some bearing on the historic commission's work that we hear from the city staff that's involved with that.
What do you guys think of that?
When do we think the Weymouth plans will, when do we think there'll be a decision about which option?
I have no idea. I'm not.
Okay, we don't know. Okay.
I'd have to ask Jen. She might know.
I was just thinking because an update on what those plans are might have some influence on.
We can add that to our, we have a ongoing agenda items list and
Sure.
so we can add that to that to just remind us.
Plymouth Village Status Report.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of this stuff's gotta come pretty fast.
I don't know what's the right wording. Probably or something.
You can, yeah,
I'll
We'll get
wordsmith.
the topic on there.
Yeah, I just want to remember what it is,
Sure.
and I'll
Any,
Yeah, better.
any other suggestions that people have, thoughts?
What about the folks on TV?
hello, TV people.
Kimberly, Alan, July, any other thoughts of items that we might want to add or adjust on the proposed work plan for next year?
No, but if somebody can remind me what the status of the roof is at the Jacob Smith house?
Oh, we had to put in a new budget request because we didn't have enough money. So that is going through the budget process right now.
What did they decide on? What are they gonna do with it?
There hasn't been a decision yet. There
Well,
was-
they get a budget for it if they don't have a decision on what they're gonna put up there.
I don't know, it's not my area.
Hmm. Could you ask somebody that it was?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't have made a final decision without us because they have to ask us. Okay.
Anything else? Any other suggestions? Well, it sounds like we've got at least a,
Do we want to have a meeting with the nonprofit, the Lacey nonprofit, see where they're at with their fundraising?
The Lacey Foundation? Was that a yes?
Yes,
So where the Lacey Foundation is at right now, so we paused our meetings on the strategic plan. Well, back up a bit.
Funding plan.
Yeah, so they're putting together, Jim, help me with the words here. Yes, they're putting together a fundraising plan. It's not done yet, right? Yeah. So it's targeted that will be done in March. In the meantime, the Parks Improvement Work Group, is that right?
Parks Improvement Funding.
Parks Improvement Funding Work Group is working on funding strategies for the whole department's capital projects, and the museum is included in that. So we sort of put a pin in the funding strategy for that group so that this other work group could do their work. It's very complicated, but anyway, all that to be said, I think it would be better to wait till after the first of the year when they've got that plan done. And then that will be the time for an update. That's what I think.
You know who's chairing that committee? Is it Mark Brown, hopefully?
It's
Not
not.
Mark.
Who's chairing it?
Her name is Evette Temple.
Of that temple?
Lenore.
He's on the committee but he's not the chair. Okay, so,
which is why you've got March for the report back.
right.
Okay.
I'll add that to our list, our agenda list of things so that we keep on top of that too.
Okay. Good question, Alan.
Yeah.
Any other questions, thoughts?
no, that's the only one that came to mind.
Is that
That's the
it?
only, yep.
That was it, okay. So are we ready to move on to reports? If so, I think Lacey Historical Society is first up.
Yes, I'm not sure which of the many members of our board are going to speak. You know, Cheryl Alchemist back there. John Turner was the one who signed up for it, so maybe he's the spokesperson. Marty Wiley and John JJ. So,
Good evening, all.
yeah, did you decide who's the spokesperson?
Do we need to flip a coin?
Yes.
John signed up first.
Okay. As you know, we've had a lot of challenges, the society in the past year or so, but we've had excellent leadership and our society is functioning very, very well. We are embarking on a goal and we're in a very preliminary state to recognize an honorable first founder of the city of Lacey. And we're not secret about that. It's Dr. Ehlers. And most of us have all were treated by him in one way or another in time. We're going to have to embark on a fundraising plan for that, which we're just starting to concern ourselves with. We are doing research on how a monument, what would the monument look like a little bit.
John, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I need to pause for just 1 second and introduce our youth representative, Faith Kim.
Hi, Faith.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
They're the important.
We can do some introductions later, but I just wanted to acknowledge that she
Sure.
came in at this time.
Maybe right after the
Yeah,
report.
yeah.
Okay.
So, sorry, carry on.
Okay. We've been on at least one or two research avenues to explore a statue on a pedestal. We're looking at maybe something that would be inside, not necessarily outside. We are, we have a lot of interest in pursuing this, and we don't enter this lightly. In other words, it's going to be a 2-year project before it happens. But we're already coming together as a group because I think pretty much almost everyone in our society is aware of Dr. Ehlers and his impact on the community in the years past. So we don't want to get out there and start talking too much until we comply and do certain things that we want to have researched. So when we do start with fundraising or get down to where it would be cited, we have some great opportunities and perspective for that. It's gonna take time, and you're working with volunteers, and we'll do the best we can as quickly as we can. But we really have a strong group of interest in pursuing this. So now, I started it off.
I'm gonna augment something you said. Number one is that indeed at our most recent Board of Trustees meeting, the Dr. Ehlers Monument was selected unanimously by the Board of Trustees as one of the top 2 priorities for the society in the next year. Thanks to Aaron, we are aware that if we are interested in having it placed in the community center, which is one of our high priority possibilities, there is a process that is required to make that request. Be forewarned, the request is forthcoming. So that's one thing. The second priority that we selected recently was remembering what I've heard be referred to as the Remembrance Place, which is over 120 dedicated plantings around the current museum location, as well as the property belonging to the Women's Club, as well as property belonging to others, which has fallen into some, as you're probably aware, state of disarray. We're looking to undisarray it in some fashion again, I don't want to give Aaron too much credit, but in a sustainable way. Right now, these 120 some odd very important leading citizens of Lacey have been honored once, and we need to have it permanent in some way, rather than go there and find out that during the pandemic, somebody decided that they really wanted that apple tree for their very own, and so they took it. There are a number that are missing. So that is something I wanted to emphasize as perhaps, and I may be speaking out of turn here, we'll be taking some coordination specifically with museum staff. If you wanted to include that on your work plan, so be it, but indeed, we look forward to working closely with staff on that. As part of a very slow process in reigniting the interest in this area, the people who run our Facebook are taking a page out of some very nicely put together, I'm not sure what the right word is for these huge
Memory books.
that were done with archival whatever, it's very nicely done. They're taking a page and putting it on our our Facebook page, kind of as a subtle reminder that we have not forgotten. And that we'll be kind of moving forward with that. And secondly, we've discovered that one of our trustees took videos of all of those ceremonies over about a decade.
Great.
And we're looking for a way to convert them and put them on our website. And of course, we'll be in conversations as to whether the museum wishes to have that as well. By the way, just as kind of a last reminder on this, I want to commend Erin for her assistance in getting all of our old newsletters from the society back to the 1980s. We found many, not all, but darn near all of them. And we shared, so they're on our website. If you're ever looking for them, they're there. The summary is there, so you can look at it for.
I was thinking I need to look in Ken Bosley's collection because he's got some too.
Gotcha. Well, I'll remind you of that. And the last thing I wanted to just share was that we did have our annual meeting in September. We had a very interesting presentation by John Donaldson, former marketing director of the Capital Development Corporation, who built South Sound Center, and as well Rick Walk, who came and talked about the future of the South Sound Center. But we learned from Mr. Donaldson that if you remember Christmas Island, that used to stop traffic on the freeway. Apparently it was, that was the wastewater treatment facility.
Camouflage.
Yeah.
Camouflaged as, as the drain field, cause it was not served by any treatment facility, which I found very, very interesting. The only one in the country that did not have an operating treatment system when it opened. So there's a lot of reasons why South Sound Center should never have happened. And thank goodness to Mr. Bloom and his family and Dr. Ehlers as well.
Yes.
It came into fruition. It was a great presentation. Just wanted to let you know about that. Sorry to step on your story, but yeah, we're happy that things are moving in a direction, and we're putting it out as a reason why people ought to spend that $10 a year and become members for 2025. We're going to be promoting that here in the near future. Did I step on your toes too?
No.
Okay.
No, you two have done a wonderful job. All I'm saying is everyone is working hard on this, and it's because we really have our heart in this. As John said, we've all been his Dr. Ehlers' patients, and he was an incredible man.
Thank you for letting us have a chance to give you a report.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So should we take?
Lot to learn.
Recognize Faith?
Lot to learn. Even those that stood there and watched, we got a lot to learn.
So, Faith, since you joined us, we might as well introduce you to the rest of the members of the committee. Commissions. My name is Jim Keogh. I'm the chair.
I'm John Halverson, member.
I'm Kevin, the vice chair.
I'm Faith. I go to Northwest Christian High School. And I think it's really cool that we get to, learn more about history. History is one of my favorite subjects. I just love it. And I think it's really cool that there's a separate space where we can just make sure that we preserve local cities' history, which is a lot of times it's overlooked. So I think it's pretty cool.
I'm at home.
Our online people.
Our online people, Kimberly?
Oh, you need to unmute.
You need to
yourself,
unmute.
Mike.
So apparently I have to hit the button 3 times to make it unmute. So sorry about that. Hi, I'm Kimberly Getz. Welcome.
July. And Alan.
Oh, I'm Tyler, one of the commissioners with no video.
He said he's Alan Tyler. Okay. So those are our historical commission members. The remaining people here are from the Lacey Historical Society. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Well, my name's John Chadricks and I have.
Sorry if I stepped on you.
Oh, that's so cool.
We'll chat.
I'm Marcy Wiley. I was born here
Oh,
a
nice.
long time ago.
John, born here.
Cool.
A long time ago.
Cheryl Maltness. I'm with the Historical Society.
And this guy's on the Historical Society too.
Yeah, we've seen him. He's our.
And former mayor of Lacey.
I'm in both groups, and so I'm gonna give you this, Faith, and hope you'll look on our Facebook and you'll start to hear about those 120 people that helped build the city.
Wow, thank
Little
you.
story on there.
We had a student,
My number's on the back too.
who did a lot of stories during the summer.
Oh,
Because she was interested like you and I worked just this way. She researched it and put it online on Facebook. Take a look.
nice.
Here's the card I made.
Oh, thank you.
With that, we'll turn to the next item on our agenda. Anything to report, Kimberly, on the Policy Steps Committee?
Nope, we continue to be on hiatus. Thank you.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and start off our commissioner reports?
I have nothing to report other than the newest family member. So thank you very much.
July, do you have anything you'd like to report?
Well, I have been attending the Friday night markets since it started back in March, and I'd like to share that it has been very successful, and I've been both a customer and a vendor at those markets, and it's a really great way for the community to come together and support each other.
Good to hear. Thank you for that feedback. I'll pass that on.
Colin, anything you'd like to report?
Nothing to report.
Okay, Ed?
I was just gonna ask if everybody's seen the building that the tribe put down in Tumwater. It's 2 great big buildings right on just south of Costco and them down there at that at the crossover street. They've got at least 2, looks like 2 stores there, and there's gonna be a lot more there. And 1,000 houses down below, or 100 houses, excuse me, but might want to take a look at that just for sport if you're driving out past Costco there.
Let's see.
Right there by the
Kevin?
roundabout,
Nothing to report.
What?
right there by the roundabout.
Yes, right, yeah, there's a
I just saw it
roundabout
today.
there.
Yeah.
What?
I just saw it today.
Yeah, it's only been there, well, I guess 6 months probably, but they actually dug a hole and started, but yeah, they're going.
Yes, they are.
They are going. So you think, you don't think you're gonna have a little one out here. You aren't gonna have a little one out there. You're gonna have a great big one out there. And we need to start finding out what's going on with it. Everybody needs to, just to see it, hope, do the best we can with it.
Right. John?
Yes, I had the privilege, because I'm an ex-member of the Medic One Council, 10 years. Went to the 50th anniversary of Medic One. I was born in 1974. it was a fantastic event. It was mostly first responders there, members of the commission over the many years. And in particular, what got my attention was of the original 12 first medics that did start it, 3 were there. And one of them was one of the most dynamic speakers I've heard in quite a while. His name was Bill Pierpoint.
Oh,
And-
is that Dusty's father?
Dusty's father. And I guess back in the memory bank somewhere, I remembered that Dusty's father was one of the first medics, first responders, but I didn't know his name, hadn't met him before. So anyway, long story short, I'm having coffee with him next Tuesday, and I'm going to try to recruit him either for a letter for our newsletter, or an article for our newsletter, or if we can get on your agenda,
I
I
was
think
just about to say, would you be
terrific-
interested in doing it?
terrific history talk person,
Yeah.
and he's so dynamic and funny. I mean, he told a couple of stories about some of the first calls, and it had the places roaring. Anyway, I thought I would recommend him as a history talk. He hadn't heard of history talk, so I'm gonna educate him on all that.
Oh, good.
And I volunteered, to be the PowerPoint builder for him,
Oh, nice. Thank
because
you.
I can do that. And he had said that a couple of one of the editors and reporters for the Olympian back in the day used to love to go on calls with them and took a lot of photos. Pardon?
Mike Oakland?
Yep, Mike Oakland. And Bill has oodles of photos from that period in time. He's gonna bring a batch of them. I'm certain some of them will be great for the city to own, or certainly for us to put on our website. We have to
I'd
credit
be
the Olympian.
happy to
Yeah.
Talk to him about that.
Pardon?
I'd be happy to talk to him about that.
Yeah, well, first let me get them warmed up and do a little sales
Yeah.
pitch. When I got the hook at him, then I'll bring him over to you guys.
Perfect.
So anyway, it was a great event, and I'm sorry if you missed it, but it was a wonderful celebration of all the people who've been saving lives, thousands of lives here for a long time.
Cool.
Yeah, well, that's fun. I'm just done a couple of items from my side as the chair. One, just to remind everybody that Heritage Day is on October 26th from 10 to 2 at the Thurston County Fairgrounds. My understanding is they're gonna have about 8 different panels that they'll be, both have tables of and some talks from. So that's going on. And I think they're going to be giving Gary Alexander a plaque at the end, is my understanding.
Well, that's cool.
The representative? Or
Yes.
Or the judge? No.
The second item was just simply to note, the rack panels are almost all done. The tribe made some decisions to revise a couple of their panels. I think mostly a couple of the visuals on the panels. And so what's going on in that regard is waiting for those to be revised before getting everything printed up. And then the city and the county have agreed to wait until they've got everything in place before actually doing a grand opening at the kiosk. Now, Aaron and I were talking before the meeting, we're thinking that hopefully they'll wait until we get past the first of the year, just in part because then you have a better chance for both weather and not to get lost in the holiday shuffle. So at any rate, that's what's going on in that particular regard, and that's why I brought it up earlier as part of our discussion for the work plan. So that would be, if that event does indeed occur in the early part of this next year, it'd be a great thing to have people invited to. So that setup that kiosk will have at that point about 8 different panels of different key historical events and time and passages inside the county, including Lacey. So Evergreen Ballroom will be featured and several others. So
This is at the regional athletic.
it'll be at the regional athletic, yes, complex. I just call it the rack. So I used to play softball out there. You just call it the rack. So that's all I have to note. Aaron?
Yes, so I have an update on the Lacey Women's Club. It kind of is an evolving situation. Last I heard, they decided not to disband the actual club. There are 9 members remaining. But they are still giving up the property to Citygate Ministries. And unfortunately, Citygate has, even after telling me that they would like to keep it on the register, they now want to remove it from the register. I'm still hopeful that I can work on it and help convince them not to. I think a lot of times people are just scared that it's gonna make it really hard to do stuff. And I think if you explain the truth about what it means to be on the register, it's just one small step that we help you, that we're here to help. So I'm hoping, and it won't affect what they want to do on the inside, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to convince them. I was able to convince another historic register property owner to not pull their property off the register, so I have some confidence that this is possible.
Is it on,
If
it's
you
on
want
there
to-
already?
Yeah,
If you want somebody else to pitch that, we had a home on the historic register in Olympia. And worked with the
Yeah.
folks there all the way through a very major remodel of the house.
and if they do a lot of remodel, they'd be eligible for special tax valuation. Now, that's
Exactly.
not easy, but
No, it's,
It
you
is-
have to, exceed
you have
about
to do-
25% of the value, if I
Yeah.
remember right.
something like that, yeah.
So anyway, I'd be willing to help if you
Thank you.
needed somebody who had experience with that kind of
I
thing.
appreciate that. So, I mean,
Women's club contact I had, did mention that at least the sign that says women's club and the address number, they'd like to make sure it gets saved.
yeah, I love that idea. We would definitely like to have that. I appreciate that. So that's the update on that. I will certainly keep you informed. The process for removal would start if I told them that I needed a letter. And since it's an organization, I'll actually need minutes that say that that's what they want to do. Because it is, Citygate is asking the women's club to have it removed before they turn it over to them. So I have not received anything yet, so no clock has started, but
But the sale is done.
I don't think it's a sale. I think they're giving it.
Oh, donation.
What I heard when I met with them this last week, because of their dwindling membership,
Mhm.
some of the 9 are not competent. And so they're a little concerned about their legal continuation. It's part of the dissolution. Effective dissolution is to donate their assets
Right,
to a charitable organization, lock, stock, and barrel.
gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you, our lawyer friend.
He's a recovering attorney.
I know, right? Okay, and then I already updated you on our big museum news. But another piece of really great news we got was that we were named in a bequest. We received $11,000 in cash. And then in addition, the person who donated it had 5 beneficiaries. We were one of them, and it includes a house. The deceased person's brother is still living in the house, and it's kind of unusual and kind of cool. They asked all of the people who are receiving a portion of this if they would be willing to let the brother stay in the home and wait to receive their portion of the sale. And everyone agreed, which is lovely. And so this house, which is probably close to $500,000 in value right now, we would receive a 5th of that when it is sold. So that's a really, really nice gift that we received, totally, wholly unexpected. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And that is my report.
Assume it's in Lacey.
No, it's in Olympia. And
We're not telling the Olympia Historical Society.
And we're not the only Lacey organization that is getting money.
Interesting.
I shouldn't have asked that.
No, we probably should have.
Okay.
So I assume you're gonna be Jen's report.
You are correct. On behalf of Director Jen Burbidge, she would like to share that for the 2025 budget, we had a budget request for the Lacey Museum for $15,000 for the printing and selling of Water, Woods, and Prairies, the Thurston County History Book, and some museum store inventory. And those were approved, and it's pending City Council final approval, which is expected on December 17th. So, and related to that, the MOU, which we are working on with us and Thurston County so that we can publish that book, is pending county signing. And they just, of course, revised their procedure. We love bureaucracy, right? They just revised their procedure for signing MOUs, so it's been a little late because of that. So soon, hopefully. She also wanted to share an update on the Parks Improvement Funding Work Group. They met on September 16th and September 30th. Staff covered the Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Comprehensive Plan update and current and potential future parks funding opportunities. And in addition, staff took the work group on a tour on October 4th to review the projects at a high level overview that are on the Parks Capital Improvement Program list. And then they met on October 14th to take a deeper dive into those projects. And those were shared with you all at an earlier meeting. Their next meeting is October 28th. They are working towards making priority and funding recommendations to City Council by December of this year. Some department news. We recently had a staff member resign and move away to be with her family. And so we're in the process of hiring a recreation coordinator to replace her. It's our special events recreation coordinator. So second interviews are being held this week, and then the coordinator hopefully will be hired after that to assist the special event sponsorships and marketing supervisor. That is it.
Okay. Are there any other items that people wanted to discuss that we haven't had put on the agenda? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
I second. We have to get Ed on the record.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned, and we will meet again in November on the 20th. That's the third Wednesday.
Now we'll convene the society meeting to take over the commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.